So my dumbass forgot to have the microphone plugged in, so we're gonna have to do a voiceover for this one and the next one. Um, so I grabbed these off the asset store, and I'm gonna link it in the description. I just put it there for visual effects and to make it look a lot better than it was, instead of just a bunch of squares flopping around. Um, yeah, so it's a tile map based thing. If you want help building something like this, I can always make a video on it, but I do recommend using your own art instead, to make it to add more of a personal touch to it. Today we're going to be doing animations with paint, and I want to add a little bit of code here first. So we're gonna make two floats, one for level start and level bottom. This is so the camera just looks better overall and the way it works. So near the update function, we're gonna go to the late update function. We're gonna type in if camera dot position dot y is less than level bottom. We're just going to set the camera dot position to, and we're going to pass through the x and y vectors of the camera just so nothing changes there. So this is so nothing changes on the x-axis. We're going to add a level bottom there, and this is so nothing changes on the z-axis. So once it, basically what this is saying is once it hits the bottom of the level, or the y-axis is the same value or less than the level, it's just going to reset back up so it doesn't go down after a certain point. And this is the same logic but left here, so it doesn't go too far left. We're just going to switch it out there for level start and then make it so the Y doesn't change right there. There we go. That's all I wanted to add. I'm going to explain it a little bit more how it works. So when we select our camera and our, it's basically based off the white lines around the camera. So you should just set up the camera for how you want your level to start, and then you would want to grab the Y of the camera, put it in level bottom, and then the X of the camera and put it on the level start, for example. And the white lines are very good indicators of how how high you want to go. So you see how the level cuts off at the bottom. I don't want the camera to go any lower than that. So that's my limit. That's my level bottom right there, which is 0 in the y-axis. And then as we move forward, we're just going to test it out just to see how it works. It doesn't move when we go left and right, and it moves when we are far away from it. And when we die, we don't go falling down. So like in Mario, how he jumps up and dies. So we're going to enter paint here, and we're going to set up our canvas for animating and paint sprites. So you should go to canvas, make it transparent, and we're going to set the width and height for for the artwork. So I normally try and do a height of 100 per row, and we're just going to do a width of 500 for now. There we go. And to map this out, we're going to use a square, just like in storybooks. So we can have an organized framing here. Just make it one pixel. It's not important, and just copy it. I'm going to do 5 different frames, or sorry, 4 different frames. So just copy it. However many frames you want, the more the merrier, because the more you do between each frame, the more detailed your animation gets. And this at a method 2, which is Anima 2D, this is a better method for visuals. Like, it looks better, and you can do more with it. But Anima 2D is a lot easier to use once you have the rig up. So I'm just going to draw a basic slime, and I'm going to use the thickness of 2. There we go, and just draw out a basic slime. This is going to be the first frame. Go something basic, and I'm going to give it a nice green color. Yep, paint does that. There we go. We're going to draw little details in there. Some slime dots. That looks good. And we're going to give it an eyeball. Nope. And a mouth. Sure. And just fill it up. Mouthing's so important, but I'm gonna fix the outlines on the eyeball. A little more important. And an eyeball, people in the middle. There we go. So for each four flames, just so we have a reference. And by the way, using a program like a Sprite, which is like $22, is a way better investment if you're taking this seriously. If you're just messing around for now, then just use Paint, which is what I'm using now. And we're just gonna copy that into different frames. Try to line it up as best as you can. There we go, and one more. There we go. Okay, and with this one, we're gonna want to make it look like its head moved a little bit to the right. So I'm just gonna erase the top there. There we go. And just make a redraw of it with pointing a little bit forward. It's gonna look a little weird in post-process, but like then again, this is just for showcasing. Now you may want to fix the line there if you're using the fill tool. There we go. And get that dock there for consistency. Okay. So for the next two frames, the third one, I'm going to want to make it look like he's starting to blink his eye. So I'm just going to zoom in there and do like a half eyelid. Just a black line. And then probably going to paint the dark color as the eyelid for differentiation. There we go. It's looking a little drowsy, but he's really blinking. And for consistency on movement, we're probably going to just delete this here. We're going to copy the second frame over, or in your case, it could be very different. But yeah. So just delete that and copy the second frame over. Try and line it up. That's good enough. There we go, perfect. And this time we're just gonna make his eyes closed fully. So just fill it up with the color. There we go. Awesome. So we're just gonna save that into Unity. Make sure you got the right folder, and we're gonna create a couple of folders as well. So once you get into your game here, assets, and create a new folder. We're gonna call it enemies. And the second folder is gonna be slime. We're just gonna save this animation sheet into there. Just call it slime. You can call it idle if you want to. There we go. And in here, we're gonna open up we're gonna have to set the mode to multiple, the sprite mode, and get rid of compression, none, and then the filter mode to no point, no filter. There we go, and then you just enter the sprite editor. Go to slice it, and then we can slice these sprites into 4 different pictures of its own instead of having to create 4 different individual pictures on Paint. It's pretty useful. It's messing around with me there. There we go. So there's a mistake I made here. Don't use the green dot to slice it. Use the blue dots in the corners to reframe it inside the black line. I'll fix it later, but I'll show you later. But yeah, so instead of using those green dots, use the blue dot on each side, and we're just going to do that for each frame here, just so the black line is cut out of the frame. There we go. Okay, and there we go. So I fixed it. I wanted to show you, but yeah, you just make sure the black lines, the blue dot's in there, not the green dot, not that one, just that one. And when you get out of there and you apply, it should look like that, no black lines. And we're just going to drag it over into the enemy. The first one. Fix it up, make it white instead of red. And then we're going to scale it down a bit, maybe 2x2 or 1x1. We'll go 2x2. There we go, bring it down. There's some polish we can do later, but right now we're just going to focus on adjusting the box colliders here and making it the animations work. You're also going to want to edit the kill dropper. Oh, here we go. Make it bigger so it fits the enemy. Okay, now we're going to get into actual animations. So you're going to want to add a tab in the project tab, animation, and make sure you're selecting enemy and not kill dropper. So I'm selecting kill dropper by accident here, but you want to select the parent object, enemy. We're going to need to fix that in a second, but this is something that can happen very commonly, so I'm going to show you just how to get out of it. So if you don't see anything, that was a big telltale sign. There was no sprite renderer. So you just go to enemy. You got to remove the animator component if you make that mistake, and just create it on the enemy, and just overwrite it. So I go by every 5 frames, I'll change a picture. So we'll start off with the first one. Make sure you're hitting the red record button on the left there. Otherwise, nothing will happen. You just bring the line up every 5 frames. It's usually the safe bet. The smaller it is, the faster the animation. If you do every 10 frames, the animation is going to be slower. It's just the speed of the animation. And you just go frame by frame. So every picture by picture. And at the end here, since this is idle animation, it's going to loop. So we're going to want to do the first animation again on .20. There we go. And it should play out. It's going to look a little weird, but hey, it's animating. All right. I think we should test it out in the editor to see how it plays. All right, we're running. We jump, and then one thing too, when we land on his head, nothing happens. He just dies. We want a dead animation too, so I'm going to draw that up really quick, and I'll be right back. All right, I drew one out right here. It's only 4 frames, but it's basically just him exploding quickly. And what we want to do is go where it says idle there on the enemy and just create a new clip. We're going to call it dead. And I'm going to show you how to organize this later too, so like you can transition between different animations. But what you want to do is basically the same thing, but for the dead animation, every 5. There we go. And 2 more, but this one doesn't loop because after the enemy dies, he's going to get destroyed. So there's no point in putting the first frame again on the 20 at the end. So we're just going to stop at 15 here. This is where we stop. So he turns into bits. So that's what happens to him. Obviously, the more you draw, the better it'll look, but this is just simple. There we go. And there, we're going to want to open up our code, and we're going to edit it a little bit so we can do transitions. So we're going to want to reference our animator, so public animator, and I always call it anim if I can. If you have more than one in there, you want to be more specific. And we're going to need to create another function here. This is an animation event. These are very, very useful, especially in 3D games. It works wonders. I mean, even with I mostly use these with bosses or something that requires an animation to run, but usually just bosses. And we're just going to create a public void there, finish dead animation, and we got to find the kill detector and edit that because that's when we want the dead animation to play because he dies there. Just open that up. We got our reference. We don't want to destroy it when we kill him this time. Instead, we want to just add the animation. So we got the enemy reference here, and we're just going to put anim .sepbool. So enemy.anim.sepbool dead. That's what we're going to name the function later. So if this doesn't make sense now, it will in a minute. And then down here, finish is dead animation. You're just going to destroy the game object. And that should be that. So we're going to go in here, we're going to edit the animator, and we're going to reference that dead function that we just called inside the code there. So select enemy, and we're going to go to window after you plug in the anim, of course. window, animation animator. And these are the two animations we just created. So we're going to want to make a transition between them. So you're just going to, the orange means default state. So that's the animation that automatically starts out when the game starts. So we don't want that to be dead. You just make it right click, make a transition between the two, and get rid of the exit time and make the transition duration to 0. Now we want to go into parameters and go to pool and create the dead. It has to match the spelling that we did in the code, or vice versa. And you just go into conditions and add it. If dead equals true, then it's going to go from the idle to the dead animation. There you go. And let's test it out and see if he does it at animation. We haven't added the animation event in yet, so he's not going to disappear. He's just going to repeat the dead animation. There we go. It works. Now we just want to add the animation event. So go into your animations and select your enemy. And make sure you're on the dead animation. And go to the very last frame, 15. And then you want to click that little add event button there. Right there. Yep. And add the function in. Finish after animation. There we go. It has to be in the same, the animator has to be in the same object as the script that you're trying to call the function to. So if it's in a child object, you won't see it. It has to be in the same as the animator. But yeah, it works. And that's it. Thank you for watching.